Hi guys, welcome to Parrot Playhouse. Ooh, hold on just a second. I want to make sure I actually have something happening right now, you guys. I'm kind of having a lot of anxiety, to be honest with you. This is going to be a really hard stream. Larry, the Amazon that Peace rescued, that I helped with on Sunday, is actually in the middle of his procedure right now. So he's going under anesthesia. And I might find out if he survived it during the stream. So as you can imagine, this one's a tough one. I've been on the phone with his foster mom. She's having a hard time right now. You know, these birds that we rescue save a parrot, right? These birds that we rescue, that we take out of bad situations, you know, even if we only have them for a little time, there's just, you know, when you look into their eyes and you've seen what they've gone through, you fall in love instantly with these birds that are in the parrot crisis. And looking into Larry's eyes, seeing him behind the bars, and knowing that he had been through some really tough stuff, and he has a lot of fight, and he already loves his foster mom. It's tough. And I'm so glad we're having this stream, because it's why I think avian veterinary care is important for birds, because had Larry received that care before it was too late, we wouldn't be going through this whole thing, right? And it's so important. I can't stress it enough that you take your birds to the vet, even when they're young. You know, I have older birds in this room. And, you know, things are always great when you're young, you feel good. But if you don't take care of yourself, things start to add up. And when these birds get to Thomas's age, you know, baby's age, Victoria Cockatoo, who's 46 back there, it's really serious. And that's why it's so important that you build your relationship with your veterinarian while they're healthy, right? Because that way you have records from your veterinarian, and your veterinarian knows what's normal for your bird versus what's not normal for your bird. You don't want to wait to the last minute where you all of a sudden have to start looking through the yellow pages. Actually, I don't know if they still make the yellow pages anymore, come to think of it. Or Googling, right? Googling. I can't believe I said yellow pages. Googling, right? You don't want to be stuck with that emergency that you don't have a game plan. You know, I have a game plan for emergency rooms. And I actually call, you know, every week. Hey, who's on call this week? You know, do you have an avian veterinarian? I always like to know if I have an emergency with my birds, I can take action and get them help. You know, if a child is hurt, a human child, and if that parent doesn't take that human child to the vet, that is considered child abuse. If a child falls and you think the child has broken their arm or the finger, and you try to take care of that at home, that is considered child abuse. You know, birds are really delicate, and they're made out of mostly air, and their bones are hollow. So when a bird falls and you think that, you know, I think that his wing might be injured or leg might be injured, it's important you take him to the vet. They need x-rays. There could be little slivers of bone that break off, and you don't want to put your bird through that. And I think, you know, when you hear of people that have lost birds and they're upset, and I've lost birds as well, the thing is, these birds hide illnesses for a long time. They can hide those illnesses. And sometimes by the time these birds get to the vet, like poor Larry is, right? And it's really hard, though. It's really hard. We just lost connection. Hopefully we'll get back on. Okay. And it's really hard to notice signs of illness. So if you ever see a different pattern with your bird, if you ever wake up and you notice that bird's on a different perch in the morning, or at the bottom of the cage, it's raining. It hasn't rained here for like 6 months, so the birds don't know what to do about it. That's a red flag. And Victoria Cockatoo actually gave me a red flag yesterday. and I am taking her to the vet on Thursday. She looks good, but she's a little too, she's super sweet, but she's not active enough for me. And I'm getting ready I'm a hairdresser, and my busy season is starting now. And so I want to take her in and get that blood work done, right? I don't want any surprises as I get into that busy season and I'm maybe not as observant as I usually would when I have more time. I want to make sure that I'm on top of things here. So I look at her. She looks great. I don't wait till they're limping or they're breathing hard. I don't wait. If I suspect something, I take them in. And it's just so important that you set your vet up and your bird up for success. I put a link below of where you can Google for an avian vet or an avian specialist in your area. I know that's something that I get asked a lot. So that's at the bottom of the description. So don't leave us just yet. So you guys can start doing your research now before it's too late, right? And then for those of you that have been thinking about getting a bird and you're watching this video, just know sharing a life with a parrot, it gets expensive. And, veterinary care is a must. Now, another thing about people that self-medicate their birds, you see, there's a problem with that. And there's all different types of bacteria out there, viruses, and, Baytril is an antibiotics that it targets a large spectrum of bacteria, right? But the thing is, when you take a bird to the vet, they can do a test and they can send it away. Some vets can do it in-house, which is more affordable, but certain tests you have to send away to the lab. So when they send that test away, that's what you're paying for. It's expensive. It's not that your vet is gouging you or trying to get rich, because I guarantee you, many vets are not rich. And in fact, they're doing this because they love what they're doing. And I was kind of shocked, a few months ago when I heard how high the suicide rate of veterinarians is. What they do is not easy. They take in a lot. They see a lot. And they see birds where they wish they could run more tests, but the owners go, no, just give me a quick fix. Give me an antibiotics. Just fix it now. But you can't fix it now. When you go to the doctors and you've got a problem, it takes time to get to the root of the problem, right? You got to go see specialists. You got to cross this out. It's the same with a parrot. So it's something to think about if you're thinking about self-medicating a bird and that antibiotics, it's diluted. And you have a bird, you got Puffy versus baby, and you were prescribed an antibiotics for one bird that weighs, let's say 600 grams. And then you got another bird that weighs, let's say 350 grams. And then you're giving this bird this medication. You can overdose them, right? So that's another thing that we're paying for when we take our birds to the vet, right? They have gone to school for a long time, and their school is super expensive. And we're talking about doctors that see different types of animals, and they're treating all kinds of things, lung issues, bone issues. They're doing surgery. I mean, Victoria Cockatoo's vet, Dr. Loudis, he does spinal surgery. I mean, what human doctor does that? These veterinarians are a genius, and I have so much respect for them. And that doesn't mean that I've never disagreed with a vet, right? I've had some issues with vets in the past. And so those are the vets that I go, you know what? They just don't work for me, but they might work for someone else. But I never bash a vet. I never, ever, ever bash a vet. Never, ever publicly bash a vet. Because you know what? One day, that vet that maybe you didn't click with might be the vet that saved your bird's life in the ER, right? Because that actually happened to me many years ago. And that's why it's just so good to do your research ahead of time, right? So, that's basically my thing. Let me make sure that I covered everything, and I didn't. So I have a scale here, and we have this at our Amazon store. It's $12. What I do when I go to the vet, this is a little tip. take your scale with you, have them weigh your bird on the scale there, right? And then weigh your bird on your scale. Make sure that your scale is matching their weight. And if it's off a little bit, which, hold on, this could be Larry. Sorry, guys. No, we're good. It might be off a little bit. So just know that your scale is under 2 grams or above 2 grams. That's so important. So if you have something going on and you call and you're talking to your vet, they'll ask you what the weight is, and your scale will match their scale. Now, many of you know that Victoria Cockatoo right back there, who's very busy eating, they're eating steamed pumpkin, sweet potato. They have some garbanzo beans. Are you going to bite me? Really? Are you going to try to bite me? You're so spicy, aren't you? He's been really spicy today, by the way, because he's a Caique. And oh, he smells like cinnamon. Oh my goodness. There's cinnamon in here. And there's a little bit of peas and corn. So that's what they're enjoying right now. So a lot of vitamin A, which is super important and something you see a lot of birds that do not have. And that's what Larry did not have, because he was fed hot Cheetos as his main diet, the Amazon. So this is what I'm talking about, you guys. Not only was he fed hot Cheetos, you know, there's cheese in that. So this is a serious rescue that Peace is dealing with right now. And, you know, we do get birds in that come with diets like that, you know, some that are just fed cereal. There was one that I remembered when I went in, and they didn't think they did anything wrong. I mean, this is why we have YouTube and stuff like this, right? So we don't make mistakes. So important. But they actually kept him in a closet because the grandmother had dementia, and the cockatoo would scream, and the grandmother would she would get so upset. So these are the life things that happen in these homes, and especially with cockatoos that are really loud. And so the grandmother would scream, the bird would scream. So they put the bird in the closet, and they put a bookshelf in front of that door to help muffle the sound. And they would get a Happy Meal once a day. And so that was considered as a foraging toy and food, and open that up and throw that in. You know, these people actually called rescue, and they knew this couldn't continue, but their HOA was threatening to kick them out. You know, elderly care is super expensive. They couldn't afford to put the grandmother in a home. I mean, they were in a situation, and it was terrible. But as a rescuer, you got to go in. You got to be thankful they called, right? Because you don't want them not to call. And it's really hard seeing this stuff. So that is why I save these parrots, right? And that is something I hope to inspire you with. But when Victoria Cockatoo came to me, she was starved, and that's all there was to it. She was starved. And because she was starved, she had all kinds of health issues. Her organs were shutting down. She could barely walk. She was kept in a parakeet cage. And so when we went to see Dr. Loudis, he was amazing, right? And we actually went to see another vet before. No, she went to, so it took 3 vets. Boom, boom, boom. Because during the time, I wanted to get 3 opinions once I knew she needed a hysterectomy. So I just, you know, if you're going to have heart surgery, you don't, you know, go to the first doctor and they say, you need heart surgery. This is what we need to do. You want to really research it. And so that's what I did. So I went to 3 really awesome avian specialists, avian vets that I loved. And then hands down, Dr. Loudis was the man for the job. And he was like, you know, Les is with Victoria Cockatoo. And he was able to do an ultrasound. He didn't sedate her. He would just hold her and just rub her belly and do the ultrasound. He was doing x-rays with her standing on the perch without sedating her. And I just loved how gentle and kind he was. There was so much respect for her. Stop fighting. And it was just amazing to see the compassion. And then the day the surgery came, I can't tell you. And the moment when he walked out holding her in a blanket, and the first time I saw her after that hysterectomy, it was magical. And that picture that you actually see in the thumbnail, that's her first appointment after the hysterectomy, and she was just looking into his eyes. He was looking into her eyes, and he was asking her how she felt. I just had to snap that picture because that picture just, it was so special, right? That thumbnail, but that thumbnail, that's what that's about. So let me look at some questions, you guys. I see there's a lot going on here. And if you can hold off on the emojis, I love emojis, but YouTube has threatened to pull these channels if we have emojis, right? So we don't want to lose Parrot Playhouse. All right. Oh, I see Parrot Royalty here. I see Caique Corner. Etsy's here. Hello. Sherry from Parrot Town's here. TV for Birds. Check it out, you guys. It's a great way if you have, you know, birds that, you know, are picky, that maybe don't want to eat, that are bored, and you kind of wonder, should I get another bird? I don't really have time for another bird. I don't know if my bird will get along with another bird. Just turn on TV for Birds. It'll fix your problem. Your bird will see her birds eating, and your birds will want to eat, right? Because that's what flocks do. And your bird will have instant company and awesome music. So check her out. Link is below. All right, who else is here? Christine's here. Hello, Christine. Okay, who else is here? Praise the Pie. Hi, Praise the Pie. Wyoming's here. Hi, Wyoming. It's so nice to see you guys here. Angel Frank. Oh, it's so nice. Thank you for Love of Pets is here. Hi, Love of Pets. Yeah, definitely go to the vets. I have been to the Weeks Weekly lately, and make sure you have enough money because avian vets are expensive. Yes, they are, right? And so, you know, it doesn't matter what size bird you've got. I had probably the most expensive parakeet on the planet. My Sunny, and she lived to be, I think it was 13 years old. And there was one procedure. It's okay. They're scared of the rain. These are California birds. They don't know what that sound is. It's okay, guys. She was like my she was my $5,000 parakeet, right? So it doesn't matter how big, how small, birds are expensive. What's wrong? You're paying. Thank you for the super chat, Wyoming. Thank you so much. That'll go into Victoria's vet visit this week. Is there a crow? Oh my goodness. So it doesn't matter. You guys really want to save up that money because you don't want to wait till it's too late. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Wyoming. Thank you. All right. So let me make sure I wrote down some of these because I hate when I forget. Okay. So vet records. Another thing about when you have an avian veterinarian, they have all the vet records down, right? So if you have an emergency, and we have in this room, I mean, look at these birds. Like, you're going to have emergencies. When you go to the vet, if my vet can't get me in, what they'll do is they'll transfer the vet records to another vet like that. And so that veterinarian has all your bird's information right there at the other vet. So it's so important. That's why you want to take your bird to the vet. Do yearly. What, Wenna? They're really wound up with this rain, you guys. Do yearly blood work. What's wrong? Victoria is scared of rain. Come here, honey. This is so frightful for them to hear the rain. What would they do if they lived somewhere where it rained a lot? Do you get food all over me? It's okay. Let's just enjoy it, right? Yeah. Okay. My Bueno, come here. You want to tell them about it? Come here. You can sit here if you're scared, okay? And then you can come right here if you're scared. It's okay, hon. He's scared, you guys. Hi. Hi, Wendell. Oh, did you hear her? He's like, Wendell. Are you a twatcho? For those of you that ask me, like, what is that noise that he makes? I have no clue. It's like, whatcho? Whatcho? Hi. How do I deal with jealousy? I'm about to have it right now. So I try to avoid jealousy altogether. Like, well, actually, Thomas fears them. And so if I get Thomas too close to them, he'll bite me. The baby is really jealous of Victoria. Like, he will go in for the kill. These two are the bullies in this room. I can't put you in there. Oh, no, I can. I thought Maui was in her cage. Okay, you can go in there. She'll feel safer in there. There she goes. And what I have to do is I just make sure they're never alone with each other, that they never get a chance to like go at each other, because these two will just go for her. And what I try to do is I make sure that the bullies right here, I give them lots of attention when they're being good, right? And then when Victoria's around me, I try not to like, oh, over like, I love you in front of him, because he does get jealous. Just think about how you felt when you were a kid. If you had brothers and sister, like if your parents were like favoring a kid, how did that make you feel? So that's kind of how I do it. I like take her into the other room and just like, oh my gosh, Victoria, I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. And then I go, oh, baby, I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. And I am. He's like my football. See that? He's a football. Do you see his feet, you guys? Look at his feet. He's going to bite me. See his feet? You see how they're just like, boy, he's going to bite me. You see how they have like no red marks on them? So when Amazons get a little older like this, I'm sorry, boo-boo, and he's 26 years old, if you don't have proper perches in their cage, they get these things called pressure sores, right? So definitely check your bird's feet and see if they have like any blue or red, and that's the beginning of a pressure sore, which is really serious. It's like having a really bad blister at the bottom of your foot that just gets worse and worse, and it can get infected. So the way to stay on top of that is that you have many flat perch options, like 2x4s, like flat perch options that their feet can rest comfortably, and different perches, and try to stay away from the rope perches. I know I do have some in here, but I know the birds that are using the rope perches, like Victoria can't have a rope perch because she'll eat it, but Thomas has to have a rope perch, right? And he doesn't eat it because he's handicapped, but have different perch selections, right? So your bird can rest. So that's my suggestion on that. And I hope I answered your question on jealousy. Manzanita is your favorite. Yeah, Manzanita is great. And you can also wrap that Ace non-stick bandage around it, kind of like, I don't know if you can see what Victoria has in this cage, to keep them from slipping, because if the branch is slippery, just feel it. They're having to like really hold on 24/7. And, many of our birds don't fly, right? And they're on the ground, they're on their feet more than the captive birds. So they never get a rest. Okay, let me see. Vets are intimidating but very necessary. Oh, I'm so glad you're saying this, Etsy. I was scared when my avian vet took Jewel to another room for a weigh. They would let me go. Oh, they wouldn't let me go with her, and I got nervous, but I raised a tough child. Good. Yes. So Etsy she had a parakeet that she was really worried about. And her parakeet was losing feathers, and she was so stressed. It's stressful taking those little birds. I think it's way more stressful taking tiny little birds versus the big birds. Like it scares me to death, right? And so she waited, she did her research, she made that appointment, she had to wait. People were like trying to tempt her, just self-medicate, give your bird electrolytes, which is not going to do anything for plucked feathers, right? And she hung in there, and she had a positive experience at the vet. Her bird did, and she did. So I'm so proud of her. It went really well. So that's just an incredible story, I think. I love how you know your bird so well. It took me so long to get to know one bird. You guys, you can watch all the educational videos, like spend all day watching them. You can read all the educational bird books. But if you do not know your bird, they're not going to help you, because every bird is different. They come with a different manual. What works with Victoria Cockatoo does not work with Puffy. And you guys can see the difference in personality. What works with Baby, let's just say with, stepping up or whatever, does not work for Thomas. So you have to get to know your bird. And if you're not going to be home a lot, if you're going to be traveling all over the place, it really is hard to really get to know your birds. These birds are flock animals, right? They're designed to be in a flock, and you are their world, right? So if you're gone all the time, and yes, I have to work to support my birds, I go to work, but when I'm home with them. And I love being able to do YouTube, because here we are, we're working right now. We're working, we're educating, we're helping people with other birds, and I'm doing it with my birds. And it's just so awesome. So it's just something to think about. If you're thinking about getting a bird, It's a big job. And what's the point of having a bird if you're never home? Because it's so wonderful. Are you knocking things down? And it's really tough. And it's sometimes heartbreaking because these are wild animals. So, and I was on Messenger last night with a man that was very upset because its Caique just turned 3 and started to attack him. And I tried my best to explain to him, oh, this is totally normal. And he's like, well, is this a habit that's going to happen? And I said, continue. And I'm like, yeah, if you make a big deal out of it, you really need to know how to address the issue when it first starts. Because the Puff man, if he was to bite me, I'd be like, bad bird, no, he would be like, this is so cool. I'm going to keep biting her because I just got quite a production. To him, that would be a reward. I mean, look at him. Right now, he's puffing up. Do you want to say something to them? No? You want to come here? Are you going to bite? Be nice. So his eyes are kind of dilating. He's kind of like, he's thinking about biting me. He's wondering if he's going to get something out of biting me. Is there going to be a scream? Is there going to be a reward? Hi, baby. You're so funny. Do you hear the little sounds he makes? The mic's right here. Do you hear those little sounds? So when I first got him, I thought he was like congested. And I took him to the vet probably the first couple of years of his life, back and forth, thinking that he had like something going on. And it's just him. So this is why he's the Puff man. Yeah? Want to go back down? Good job. Good job, Bubba. Okay, let's see if we have any more questions. Did you watch the video about the birds getting along? Live laugh birds. Oh, you're asking Wyoming. Okay. Let's see. My Caique is the same low, but I love him so much. Awesome. Yeah, you know what? When you have a Caique, you got to be ready for this because it's just what it is. They're little monsters. They just want to kill you at times, and then they're super sweet. When they want to kill you, that's just when you give them their space, right? That's when I give Puffy his space. I'm like, okay, today is not a day you're going to want to hang out with me, but if you behave, I'll let you run around. But if you start attacking other birds, then you have to go in your cage, and there's plenty of toys, plenty of food. It's not a punishment. It's just he's confused. He's feeling things. He's hormonal, and he can't help that, right? And so that's where I give them plenty of toys, plenty of foraging toys. This is clean toilet paper with actual treats in there, and he loves to just rip those up. I take boxes away because boxes encourage nesting behavior. I don't like to give my birds boxes. Bless you. And so you got to make sure you give them plenty of sleep. These guys, all parrots, really need about 10 to 12 hours of sleep. Bless you. Don't worry, he's not sick. So that's something you need to do, and it'll improve your parrot's behavior and happiness for you as well, and safety for everyone in the house. Good job, buddy. They're chewing on yucca right now. And I love these yuccas because I can put holes in them and I can put treats in there as well. And they can just chew. And, when Puffy's upset, I'll give him a piece of yucca and he'll just take it out on that. See how he shakes it? So this is really cool that you're seeing the shape. This is how Puffy kills his prey. Unfortunately, which now it doesn't happen, but when I first got him, a lizard got into the aviary, and this was years ago before I knew anything. He grabbed that lizard and shook it to death, didn't you? And I panicked. I jumped in there, and I tried to take the lizard away, and he attacked me. He wanted to eat it. So this is what I'm talking about with Caiques. They're hunters. They're wild animals. Yeah, and you had that lizard all over. Then we had to go to the vet because lizards can have salmonella, right? So that was quite a day. Yes, it was. So that's a Puffy story. He has many Puffy stories. Okay, parrot royalty. Twilight is like that. Either a Terminator bird out of Get Me Some Sweet Flower. Okay. Do you guys have any more questions on this about, the importance of vet care? You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about a carrier. So when you take your bird to the vet, and I suggest you take your bird to the vet for a positive visit, not necessarily where they're getting examined. Just pay the fee. Like, it's so worth it. Like, my Avian vet, bless you. I think he's like $55, $65 for an exam. Bless you. He has food in his nostrils. What's going on? I'll flush him after this. And take them in a carrier that's easy for the veterinarian to get them out. And I'm trying to see. You okay? So you want a carrier that opens from the top and that opens from the side. And when you're carrying the bird in, make sure you hold the carrier like this, because don't trust those tops, right? That way the veterinarian can go in if the bird doesn't want to step up, or you can go in and you have easy access. And make sure you bring tons of treats. And, you know, I have friends that are veterinarians. I know many of the veterinarians at the animal park, at the zoo. You know, I'm friends with them. And they're always telling me, because they talk to their other vet friends that work in small practices, it's really hard when somebody else brings another bird friend along. So you got two birds, one there for moral support, and then the other bird, and they're trying to treat the bird and the other bird's upset. It's a mess. So ask the receptionist, hey, I've got a bird that's bonded with this bird. Is it a good idea to bring the support along, or should I leave that bird home? So just ask them, set everybody up for success, and make sure you bring plenty of treats. Hand them to your vet and have your vet give your bird the treats. And so that's how I do it. When my birds go to the vet, they're not scared. They don't really, they're just like, everything's going to be fine. We're going to get our treats. They don't have anxiety. Not even Victoria. She runs to Dr. Loudis. She runs to him. He picks her up, and it's the sweetest thing because she knows he saved her, right? All right, let's see. Should you bring more than one bird while going to the vet? I brought Jewel along because she gets aggressive with my other birds, but I would have liked my other bungees to have a good experience. That's a good question. You know what I think is probably best? As long as they're in separate carriers, right? Separate carriers. And that's a good idea. So you have a vet appointment for one bird and you want the other bird to kind of see what's going on. Bring separate carriers, because that's not going to cause problem for the veterinarian or you getting the bird out of there. And bring treats for everybody. That's an excellent question. My vet suggests that I keep my bird clipped, and my mom agrees because she is the vet. But to keep her flighted, she tries hard, and I know the pros and cons of both flighted and clipped birds. You know what? That's a decision. I never say clip or not clip. It's about knowing your bird. That's something where you got to know your bird. You got to know who's in your house. You got ceiling fans. If you've got like paintings on the wall that could have lead, right? It just depends. If you got toddlers, it just depends. Some of my birds are clipped, some of my birds are not. And these guys are clipped because they will literally fly at the weak birds in the room. And that's Thomas, and that's Casey, and that's Victoria. And like, we're talking brutal attacks. And so, but these guys get a lot of exercise, but you just got to know your bird. All right, guys. So let me just see my Casey. Yeah, Sherry loves Casey. All right, guys. So that's the end of this. And then I am really eager to find out to see how Mr. Larry is doing. So just pray for him. The video is going to be up on Thursday, part of it. Honestly, if he doesn't make it tonight, it's going to be a tough edit for me. So that video might be pushed to Sunday. I'm not quite sure. I'm hoping I can get the first part on Thursday. And then the following week is going to be his vet appointment, which we did yesterday, which you guys have to watch that because you're going to learn so much. And when you actually look down into his mouth, Dr. Loudis let me film everything. And when I look down his mouth, you're going to see there's these pus pockets. And this poor bird just has this growth. And he can barely breathe. He can barely get food in. And so his foster mom, who's amazing, this is her first foster bird, and this is a tough one, and that's her right now. Was feeding him soft food, and he just finally started to suck it up because those hot Cheetos that he was being fed, and amongst the other things, they were really tough. And I'm not saying this to bash the previous owner. The previous owner, let me tell you, he was experiencing issues as well. So life happens. It's about moving forward and not being upset about the past. As a rescuer, you see a lot of things, and if you harbor a lot of anger and all this stuff, it's gonna really waste energy. Actually, Sherry from Parrot Town has taught me that. And so you got to move forward and save that energy for helping that bird or helping that foster mom like Val, feeding her with positive energy to keep her going, right? Because she has a big journey ahead of her with Larry. And so he's going to make it. So, all right, guys. And we're going to have a whole line of Save a Parrot merch coming very soon. Top to bottom, mugs, everything. Like, I have an artist working on the cutest designs. You guys are just going to, when you see it, I can't wait. Because it's my passion, as you know, right? And I hope it inspires you. And what an amazing message. Like, I believe this, right? And this is what I do. And this is why I'm so busy as well. Okay, guys, have a wonderful night. If you have any more questions after the video is done processing, you can put the questions in the comments below. And if you don't have a scale, you need a scale because it's important to weigh your bird every day. Don't forget what I said about the scale. We have them at our Amazon store. Link is below. They're like $12, right? And they can save your bird's life. All right, guys, we love you. Do you want to help me turn it off? Because we have to hit that button like way over here. Okay, here we come. Here he comes. Here we go. Here's the button. You got the button. Oh my goodness. It's not working. Wait a minute. It's not. Wait. You guys, I can't shut this thing off. Sherry, what do I do? It's not working. You guys. Holy Batmobile. No. Where's the button for the thing? Sherry, what do I do? You guys, this is but okay, so let's not panic. Sherry, if I just go out on this thing, is it gonna like delete this whole thing? We're having some problems, you guys. I didn't have a computer till like 2 years ago. I don't even have a TV really, just in the bird room. Sherry, end stream. It won't end. Sherry, I'm pressing the end stream and it won't end. Guys, be careful with the emojis. You're gonna get me taken down. Sherry, what do I do? Oh no! This is bad. I'm terrible with technology too. Like it shouldn't. I'm blaming this on YouTube, you guys. The button is. Wait a minute. Oh my gosh, you guys! I'm thinking it's a touch thing. I'm touching it. You have to move the little cursor. Okay. Oh my goodness. Good night, you guys. I figured it out.